Okay? Shall I start? Okay. Yeah, thank you. ॐ दक्षिणस्य समारम्भा शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमा अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्ता स्मर्या गुरुपरम्परा श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः परिज्ञानाश्रम श्रीगुरुशङ्कर परिज्ञानाश्रम शङ्कर सद्गुरु केशववामन कृष्णपाण्डुरङ्ग आनन्द परिज्ञान गुरु सद्यो जात शङ्कर सद्गुरु गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः ॐ सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. Yeah, so some of the Advaita stotras of Adi Shankaracharya we saw in the last few sessions. And the last one we completed was the Atmashatkam. And in Atmashatkam, we saw that the way the Atma is described is Nisheda Swarupena first. Nisheda Swarupena means what? What I am not. First, the Atmashatkam, in Atmashatkam, Bhagwan Shankaracharya describes what I am not. First, it describes what I am not. What I, the Atma, am not. And then he goes on to show what I am. The last line of the 4 lines gives positively vidhi mukena what I am. And the first 3 lines talk about what I am not. So it is something like an Atma Anatma Viveka. So Chidananda Rupaha Shivoham Shivoham, that is the first, that is the vidhi mukena, which is the last line. The first 3 lines talk about what I am not. And a similar kind of a work is written by Adi Shankaracharya called as Hastamalakiyam, which is a work consisting of actually 12 verses, but totally 14 verses. The first 2 verses being introductory verses, where who I am, the Atma Swarupa, is explained in the form of what I am not first, and then Vidhi Mukhena what I am. In this way, it is actually explained as to the Swarupam of Atma. The Swarupam of Atma is explained like this. Now, there are a lot of stories about Shankaracharya's life. Many biographers have written a number of biographies about Shankaracharya's life. And of course, there are different incidents written by different biographers, different stories are given. So there are a lot of stories in these biographies which are called as the Shankara Vijayas. Some 7 or 8, or some people say 13 biographies are also available. And in these biographies, we have a lot of stories. And Hastamalakiyam actually comes to, it points out to a story which is given in most of this, commonly given in this Shankara Vijaya series. Many people have recorded this story. What this story says is, when Shankaracharya as a Paribrajaka was going around in a particular place close to Karnataka, he was actually, brought a small boy, a 3 or 4-year boy, a balaka was brought to him. And the parents said that this boy was Jada. In the sense, he was not responding to anything. He was not talking to anybody. He was not answering any questions. And so they wanted Shankaracharya to talk to him and understand actually what was actually there in his mind. And the parents also felt that since this boy is useless to us, since this boy is not actually, answering anything, he's not talking, whether he knows how to speak or not, that also we don't know. So, as far as we are concerned, this boy is a useless one. And therefore, they brought him to Shankaracharya for his blessings or to leave him with Shankaracharya for whatever it is. We do not know that. Anyway, this boy was brought by his parents to Shankaracharya, Bhagwan Shankaracharya, as he was traveling. And then Bhagwan Shankaracharya probably would have realized that this boy was not an ordinary boy. It was a jnani, and this jnani did not want to speak anything to anybody. And he was reveling in his own Atmaswarupa Ananda. And therefore, he was not really responding to anybody. And Jadavat, he was behaving in this world. But anyway, Shankaracharya asked him this question: "Oh boy, who are you? Where do you come from? Who do you belong to? Where are you going?" So, all these questions, as would normally one would ask to introduce oneself to another person, this boy was asked this question by Shankaracharya. And whatever answers this boy gave, opening his mouth for the first time, and talking, that he really had speech, not only speech, that he had all the knowledge that was necessary to be called a jnani. And then whatever answer he gave for what I am, when he was asked, "Who are you?" and the answers that were given by this boy was something that was nothing but the knowledge of a jnani. The entire Upanishad knowledge was given by this small boy, in his answer to Acharya Shankara's questions. And this particular answers that were given by this boy were actually recorded by Acharya Shankaracharya, Bhagwan Shankaracharya, and the name was given to this work called as Hastamalakiyam. Now, what is the meaning of Hastamalaka? Not only did Shankaracharya Bhagavan accept this boy as his disciple, but he gave him a new name. He gave him a name called Hastamalaka. What is the meaning of Hastamalaka? Somebody who can see anything so clearly like a gooseberry on one's palm or in one's palm. Supposing we have something in our palm, we are able to see it clearly. That was the clarity with which this boy saw what his Swarupam was. So this boy was able to talk about what he was as clearly as he was seeing a gooseberry or an amla on his palm. And therefore, Shankaracharya gave him the name Hastamalaka. We don't know what this boy's original name was, nothing is mentioned anywhere. But this name Hastamalaka was given by Shankaracharya to this boy as he accepted him as his Shishya, as Bhagwan accepted him as his Shishya. And that which was given out in the form of this jnanam or the words of wisdom by this Hastamalaka was called as Hastamalakiyam. What's the meaning of Hastamalakiyam? That which belongs to or that which comes from Hastamalaka. Therefore, it was called as Hastamalakiyam. And it is said that Bhagwan Shankaracharya was so impressed by this work that he wrote even a commentary or a bhashya on this work, that is Hastamalakiyam. So the bhashya of Bhagwan Shankaracharya is also available on this Hastamalakiyam. So this is the background story of Hastamalaka. And Hastamalaka remained to be one of the four closest Shishyas of Bhagwan Shankaracharya, Adi Shankaracharya. So now we'll go to the text Hastamalakiyam. It is actually nothing but the very Sara or the very crux of the Vedantic teaching. And what here Hastamalaka is doing is a mere Atma Anatma Viveka. as to what I'm not and ultimately what I am. And for that, he takes the body mind sense complex as the anatma and then compares it with the Chaitanya Atma. And he says, he claims ultimately, I am that ever present consciousness or Chaitanya Swarupa Atma. I am not the body mind sense complex. And in all these verses, we can say Hastamalaka talks about the Tvampada Vichara. Tvampada Vichara in the form of distinguishing what I am, like separating the Anatma from Atma and understanding what is my reality, what is my real nature, which is called as the Tvampada Vichara, which we have seen in the first 6 chapters of Bhagavad Gita, and also we have seen in all the other works that we have taken so far. So let's go to this. First 2 verses are the introductory verses. So what does he say here in the first verse? I'll read the first verse, which is nothing but the question of Shankaracharya as to asking this boy, since he doesn't know anything. The parents are saying that he is Jada. Jada means what? He absolutely does not respond to anything. It is as though he is dead. He is just there like a rock. He's there. He does not respond. He does not interact with any one of us. What is wrong with him? So he asked this question. So how does Bhagwan Shankaracharya introduce or ask who he is, wants an introduction from him? So let's read the first verse. Kastvam shishokasya kutosi ganta kinnamate tvam kuta agatosi ye tanmayoktam vadacarbhakatvam matpritaye priti vivardhanosi. Hey child, hey Shisho. Shisho means what? Not even a balaka. A small child, maybe 3 or 4 year old child. A small child, Shishu. Hey Shisho. In the first verse, he's addressing Hey Shisho. Then we'll see the last line where he says, Preeti Vivardhanosi. Hey child, you are very charming and you invoke a lot of preeti or love in me. Preeti Vivardhanosi, hey Shisho. You, hey child, are invoking a lot of affection and love in me. You are a charming child. Mat Preetaye, for my satisfaction, for knowing you for my satisfaction, will you please answer me? Vada, will you please answer me? Answer me, hey boy. What is it that I want to know about you? Kastvam, first word, first line. Who are you? Kahatvam. Who are you? Kastvam. Kasya tvam. Who do you belong to? Who are your parents? I know your parents have brought you here, but who are they? Who are you? What is your name? And you belong to whom? Who are your parents? Kutosi aganta. Where are you going to? From where are you going to where you are going? Kutosi aganta. Kin namate. Very simple. This verse is very simple. Kin namate. What is your name? Don't we ask like this to a small child of 3 or 4 year old? Who are you? What is your name? Which class are you studying? Where are you coming from? What is your father's name? Mother's name? All these things we ask a small child, isn't it? In the similar way, he asking, Kin namate? What is your name? Tvam kuta agatosi? From where have you come and where are you going? Yetan mayoktam vada. Please tell me all these things. Answer me. I have asked you these questions. Please answer my questions. Cha Arbhaka. Arbhaka means again Shishu. It is another name for Arbhaka. He's addressing this child. Hey Shishu. Hey Arbhaka. Arbhaka means a small child. A Balaka, Arbhaka, Shishu. They all mean the same thing. So hey Balaka, hey Arbhaka. Tvam mat pritaye vada. For my happiness, for my satisfaction, please tell me about yourself. So it is like Bhagwan Shankaracharya is asking for his introduction. He doesn't know whether this child is really Jada or not, whether he's going to respond to his question or not. But then he asked this question. And the second verse is a mere answer to this question given by this boy. Now, here he says Hastamalaka Uvacha, but right now he is not yet Hastamalaka. We don't know the name of this boy. Hastamalaka is the name given by Acharya Shankara when this boy became his disciple, who was called as Hastamalaka. And Shankaracharya gave this name to this boy as Hastamalaka because this boy could see very, very clearly all that was taught in the Upanishads, in the Shruti. The clarity of his vision was like seeing a gooseberry in your hand. So, this name Hastamalaka was given much later. So, what is the answer that he gave? This is also a part of the introduction. The actual Hastamalakiyam starts from the third verse. So, what answer did he give? नाहं मनुष्यो न च देवयक्षो न ब्राह्मणक्षत्रियवैश्यशूद्राः न ब्रह्मचारी न गृही वनस्थः भिक्षुर्न चाहं निजबोधरूपः. The first time this boy opens his mouth, and this is the answer he gives. When he was asked, "Who are you?" he says, Naham Manushyaha. I am not a human being. That means what? Are you not a human being? You are there with one head and two hands and 2 feet in the akriti or in the shape and form of a human being. How do you say you're not a human being? That may be my incidental upadhi. That may be by incidental name and form, but I don't have really any form like a human form or any other form. This is what he's saying as an introduction, answering Acharya's questions. Naham Manushyaha. I'm not a Manusha. Nacha Deva Yaksho. I'm not a Deva or a celestial, not a Yaksha, another form of celestial. Different forms of celestials are there. I'm neither a Deva, nor a Yaksha, nor a Manusha. That means I'm not any of the Jivas which belong to any of the Lokas. I'm not that. Na Brahmana Kshatriya Vaishya Shudraha. I don't have any Varna Dharma. I don't belong to any Varna. I'm neither a Brahmana, nor a Kshatriya, nor a Vaishya, nor a Shudra. What is the meaning of this? That means all these Varnas belong to the birth of this body. When the body is born in a certain group, then that body, that person gets by birth a particular status of being a Brahmana or Kshatriya or Vaishya or Shudra. But really, in reality, this belongs to the body. Therefore, I am not any one of these. Varna Dharma does not belong to me because all the Varna Dharmas belong to the body and its birth. Similarly, whether you are a Manusha or an animal or a plant or a Jiva belonging to the higher realms of the higher lokas, ultimately it all belongs to what? It belongs to the birth of the name and form, a certain name and form. Then, do I have any ashrama dharmas? We know what is Varna system, what is ashrama system. I'm not going to explain in detail. He says, Na brahmachari, na grihi vanasthaha, bhikshurna chaham. That means I'm neither a brahmachari, nor am I a grahastha, nor am I a vanaprastha, nor am I a bhikshuhu. Bhikshuhu means sannyasi, the one who has taken to a lifestyle of sannyasa, who lives on bhiksha or alms to survive. Such a person, a sannyasi, is also called as a bhikshuhu. He's called as a bhikshu. So what does he say? I don't have any ashrama dharmas also. I don't belong to any ashrama. I'm neither a brahmachari, nor a grahastha, nor a vanaprastha, nor a bhikshu or sannyasi. then who am I if I'm not any of them? So, Nisheda Rupena, he has declined or denied what he is not. And then in the last word, he says, Nija Bodha Rupaha. I am of the nature of that Chaitanya Atma. I am the Chaitanya Swarupa Atma, which does not have a body, mind, sense complex. I am the Chaitanya Atma, which does not have a name. The name belongs to the body. I am the Chaitanya Atma who does not have any kind of a Manushya Jivatvam or a Deva Jivatvam or a Yaksha Jivatvam or a Tiryak Jivatvam. No, I'm not an animal or any of that. All that belongs to the body. Whereas I, the Bodhaswarupaha, I am of the nature of pure knowingness. I am of the nature of pure awareness. I am of the nature of pure consciousness. That is what is called as Bodhaswarupaha. Bodhaswarupaha means I am the Chaitanya Atma Swarupaha. So I am not the body for which there is this Manushya Dharma, Varna Dharma, Ashrama Dharma. I am not the body. There may be this body. Body might have been born in a particular Varna. That's all right. That is incidental. But who am I? I am none of these. None of these dharmas belong to me. They're all the dharmas of the body. Therefore, who am I? Nija Bodha Rupaha. Nija means that innermost, naturally, I'm the Swarupa, I'm of the nature of consciousness, Nija, of the nature, of the Swarupam of consciousness. Consciousness what? I am the Chaitanya Atma Swarupa. I am not the body with all its dharmas here. This is the introduction. Now, what is this Nija Bodha Swarupa? What is this Nija Bodha Swarupa? That is what is going to be explained in all the next 12 verses, which forms the actual content of Hastamalakiyam. The actual content of Hastamalakiyam is this, from the third verse to the 14th verse. And here, this boy, now we can call him Hastamalaka because we know how clearly he sees his own Swarupam as to what he is. Now, this boy, Hastamalaka, is going to talk about what is he as the Nija Bodha Swarupa. Because he says Nija Bodha Swarupa, I am of the nature of consciousness. So, what is this nature? What is this consciousness? What is the meaning of Bodha Swarupa? Who is this consciousness? What is this consciousness? How am I as the Swarupa Atma, Chaitanya Swarupa Atma is different from Anatma? How am I different from Anatma? That is what is going to be talked about in the next 12 verses. So he says, Nimittam manaschakshuradi pravrattau nirastakhilopadhirakashakalpaha ravirlokacheshta nimittam yathayah Sanityopalabdhiswarupohamatma. Now, this last line, Sanityopalabdhiswarupoham Atma, is going to be the common line in all the forthcoming verses. Just like in Atma Shatkam we had Chidananda Rupaha Shivoham Shivoham, we had the last line, and it was a common fourth line or the last line in every verse. Similarly, here also we are going to have Sanityopalabdhi Swarupoham Atma in all the verses, 12 verses that are going to come in future. What is the meaning of this Sanityopalabdhi Swarupoham Atma? So, who am I? I am the Nitya Upalabdhi Swarupa. I am that Chaitanya Swarupa Atma, which is always available. I am that consciousness which is neither born nor dies nor undergoes any changes. I am the Nitya, Nirvikari, Ekameva, Advitiya Atma, which is constantly available to me. Nitya Upalabdha. That means what? That which is constantly available to me. So who am I? Nitya Upalabdhi Swarupa Atma Ahamasmi. I am of the nature of ever available, constantly available, Nitya Upalabdhi Swarupa. I am of the nature of that awareness, Chaitanyam, consciousness, which is constantly available, which is all the time available. Whether this body is awake, whether it is dreaming, whether it is sleeping, whether it is whatever may be the state of the body, mind, sense complex, this consciousness, this awareness that is all the time available, and because of which the entire anatma body, mind, sense complex is functioning. I am that Atma Swarupaha. This is the meaning of Sa Nityopalabdhi Swarupoham Atma. That consciousness which is Nityam and all the time available, I am that consciousness. And what is this consciousness? What is the nature of this? What does it do? He says, Nimittam Manachakshuradi Pravrattau. Mana Chakshuradi, he's taking the mind and the sense organs, the Jnanendriyas, the Karmendriyas, and the mind. That means the Sukshma Sharira is taken up here, and by Upalakshana or by inclusion, we have to include the Stula Sharira also. So, what does he say here? The Stula Sharira and Sukshma Sharira are basically Jada. They are not able to function by themselves. They are basically Jada. But then there is something because of which this Jada Stula Sharira and Sukshma Sharira are able to function. The sense organs are Jada because they are Pancha Bhautika. They are made up of the five elements, and therefore the sense organs and the mind being constantly changing, being formed by the five elements, the being elementals. Therefore, however subtle the mind may be, subtle the sense organs may be, they cannot function by themselves. They need a chetayita. They need something which, because of which they can function. They need an existence and consciousness principle because of which the mind and the sense organs and the body can function. And that nimittam, that cause or that thing which is the nimitta for the functioning of the body, mind, sense complex is this Atma I. So here he says, I am not the sense organs, I am not the mind. When he talked about the Naham Manusho Nacha Deva Yaksha, already he eliminated the physical body. Now he has come to the subtle body and he says, I'm not even the mind, I'm not even the sense organs, but who am I? He says, Nimittam Manas Chakshuradi Pravrittau. Even though the mind and the sense organs are jada because they are pancha bhautika or born out of five elements, still they are sentient. They are able to do their work in their own fields. The eyes can see, the ears can hear. All the work that the sense organs and the mind have to do, they are able to do in their own field because of something else behind them. And that's something which is the nimittam for the pravritti of the sense organs, for the action to happen in the sense organs and mind. I am that nimittam. Nimittam chakshuradi pravritta. Now we should understand that the next two or three verses are based on Kenopanishad, where in the Kenopanishad the first two verses talk about this Atma is nothing but Shrotrasya Shrotram, Manaso Manoyat, Vachoya Vacham, Sau Pranasya Pranaha, Chakshushaha Chakshuhu. That means what is it? That because of which the eyes function as eyes, that because of which all the sense organs function as the respective sense organs, that because of which the mind functions as mind, that particular thing is me, the Atma. Therefore, here he takes it from the Kenopanishad and says, Nimittam chakshuradi pravrittau. Chakshuradi, that means all the sense organs, pravritti, is not inherent in themselves, but there is a nimittam, the presence of something because of which the sense organs work. And what is that particular presence, nimittam? Nirasta akhila upadhihi. This nimittam is out of or beyond or out of all the upadhis. Upadhi, body mind sense complex or an attribute is called as upadhi. This nimittam is something which is free from all upadhis. This nimittam behind the mind is not affected by the mind. This nimittam atma, the consciousness because of which the eyes are eyes, is not affected by the working of the eyes. So, what is this nimittam? Nirasta akhila upadhihi. It is completely free from all afflictions by whatever it acts as a nimittam. It is because of this nimittam that all the sense organs are functioning, but the functioning of the sense organs and the mind does not affect this nimittam. Okay? Therefore, he gives an example here. Nirasta upadihi, akhila upadihi, akasha kalpaha. Like akasha, like space. Everything is there in the space. The whole world is in the space. All the transactions are happening in the space, but the space is not affected by anything. Whatever is happening in the jagat, in the space, is not affecting the space. The space gives opportunity for everything to exist and every action, everything to happen. But whatever happens in the space, nothing can affect the space. And just like Atma, the space also doesn't have an upadhi. It does not have any attributes. That is why always when we talk about Atma, in comparison, space and light are talked about. We have seen this in Bhagavad Gita, we have seen in Vivek Chudamani, we have seen where Atma, to make its understanding easy, asangatvam of Atma, that nothing can affect it, though it is in and through everything. The examples of the space and example of the light are given. So here also the example of space, he says, Nirasta Akila Upadhihi, that which is free from all attributes, that which is free from all upadhis, Akasha Kalpaha, like Akasha, free from anything and everything that is happening here. Another example of light he gives here in the next line. Ravirloka cheshta nimittam yatha yaha. All the loka cheshta is happening when the sun rises. During the day, when the sun is shining, all the loka vyapara is happening. When the sun sets down, and when there is no light, there is a natural cessation of all the loka vyavaharas, most of the loka vyavahara. Of course, in today's parlance, we cannot take that, but then that is the general thing. That in the morning, when the sun rises, all the activities of the Jagat start, and this sunlight lights up everything, the whole universe. This light lights up all the activities of the universe, but does not get affected by any of the activities it lights up. It does not get affected by anything that is happening in the loka. So, Ravir Loka Cheshta Nimittam. Sun is the nimitta for all the loka cheshta, yatha, just like that. Yaha, this nimittam of manaha chakshu adehe pravrittihi, for the working of mind and sense organs, that which is the nimittam is nothing but this consciousness. Sanityopalabdhi swarupoham atma. What is this consciousness? Nitya upalabdha, that which is all the time present, that which never non exists at any time, that which is of the nature of constant nitya existence and consciousness. This nityopalabdhi swarupoham atma. I am the nimittam. I, the Atma, is the Nitya Upalabdhi Swarupoham Aham. And I am the Nimittam for all this body, mind, sense complex to function. Because of me, the consciousness, because I, the consciousness, lend this consciousness to the body, mind, sense complex, this body, mind, sense complex, which is naturally jada, becomes sentient and capable of doing its work. Therefore, who am I? I am the Shrotrasya Shrotram, Manaso Manoyat, Vachoya Vacham, Pranasya Pranaha. I am the ear of the ear, the eye of the eye, the mind of the mind. What does it mean? I am the consciousness behind every sense organ and the mind and the body, because of which this Karya Karana Sanghata functions. Then in the next verse, he says, यमग्न्युष्णवन्नित्यबोधस्वरूपं मनश्चक्षुरादीन्यबोधात्मकानि प्रवर्तन्त आश्रित्य निष्कम्पमेकं स नित्योपलब्धिस्वरूपोऽहमात्मा. So he says, when you say Nitya Upalabdhi, that means that which all the time remains unchanged in the same way. What kind of an example can we give? He gives an example. The Bodha Swarupa of mine or the Chaitanya Swarupa I am is constantly there, irrespective of whatever is the state of the body, mind, sense complex. And what does he compare it to? Yam Agni Ushnavan Nityam. Yad Agni Ushnavat Nityam. That means what? In Agni, in fire, the heat or the Ushnatvam is constant, correct? Wherever there is fire, Ushnatvam is there. If the fire is lit in Siberia also, it is hot. If the fire is lit here also in Bellary at 44 degrees also, it is hot. So what is the very Swarupam of Agni? Heat, Ushnatvam, Aushnyam is the very Swarupam of this Agni, which never gets lost at any time. Similarly, I am the Bodha Swarupaha. My Bodha Swarupaha or my Chaitanya Swarupaha never gets lost anytime. Anything which is borrowed is lost. Anything which is the nature Swayam, that is never lost. So he says, Yam Agni Ushnavat Nitya Bodha Swarupaha Ahamasmi. I am of the nature of Chaitanyam, of the nature of consciousness, of the nature of Jnanam, knowing, Nyapti, which is constant, like the constancy of heat in Agni. Then he says, it is necessary as a nimittam to manaschakshuradihi. Why? Because manaschaksuradini abodhatmakani. Abodhatmakani means they are jada. Manaha chakshuradini. You will find this manachakshuradi repeated a number of times in the next few verses. He is taking the Sukshma Sharira. He is as Anatma here to describe the Anatma. So he'll talk about Manaha Chakshuhu Adi, means the entire Sukshma Sharira, with which you have to include the Stula Sharira as also as the Karya Karana Sanghata. So the entire Stula Sukshma Sharira Sanghata. So who am I? Yam Agni Ushnatvam, Agni Ushnavat Nityam. I am that Nitya Bodha Swarupa. Like Aushnyam in Agni is Nityam. It never changes. Manaschakshuradini abodhatmakani. The mind and the sense organs, of course, body we very clearly know, are jada, abodhakani. There is no bodha in them. There is no chaitanyam in them. They are jada because they are the matter principle. They are the product of matter principle. Though the sense organs and the mind are very subtle, They are very subtle matter principle. So Manaschakshuradini abodhatmakani. Then pravartanta ashritya nishkampamekam. Then how will these jada organs, the jada indriyani, along with the mind, how will they function? They depend upon ashritya nishkampamekam. They depend upon, they take the ashraya of. What do they take the ashraya of? Nishkampamekam nitya upalabdhi atma. They take the ashraya. That consciousness, that chaitanyam of which the sense organs take ashraya, that consciousness or chaitanyam on which the mind and the sense organs depend as adhishtanam for their action. Pravartante ashritya, all these abodhatmakani sense organs, that means that the sense organs which are actually jada, they depend upon this consciousness. Ashritya pravartante. Atmanam ashritya pravartante. Chaitanyam ashritya pravartante. Depend upon this chaitanyam to manifest their actions. And this chaitanyam on which the mind and the sense organs depend to manifest their actions, so manifest their functions. This particular Atma Ahamasmi. Sanityopalabdhi Swarupoham Atma. All right. If ultimately I am that Nitya Upalabdhi Swarupa Atma, fine. Then what is this Jiva? If I have understood that I am this Nitya Upalabdhi Chaitanya Swarupa Atma, then why is it that I am feeling a limited Jiva? Why am I feeling that I am this body, mind, sense complex? I am this limited body, mind, sense complex, limited by time, limited by space, limited by other objects, and that which is anityam, that which is constantly changing. Why do I have that feeling? What is this jiva then? If I am this Atma Swarupa, only that should have been there. From where has this jiva come? Why do I call myself a jiva? That traveling jiva, that this one is jiva, we talk about so much jiva, we have talked about jivatma. What is this jiva then? So he gives an answer of what this jiva is in the next two verses. He gives this answer. Fifth verse, what does he say? Mukhabhasako darpane drishyamanaha mukhatvat prithakvena naivasti vastu चिदाभासको धीषु जीवोऽपि तद्वत् स नित्योपलब्धिस्वरूपोऽहमात्मा. Okay, so what does he say? What is this jiva? He say, Mukhabhasako darpane drishyamanaha. Actually, these verses are, language-wise, are quite simple. It's, those who have a little bit idea about Sanskrit can easily understand what it's talking about. He says, Mukhabhasako darpane drishyamana. When I stand in front of a mirror, my face gets reflected in the mirror, and then I recognize myself through the reflection. I can never see my original face myself. The eyes can never see themselves originally themselves. They can't turn back and see us. The only idea of my face is through my reflection. Okay, so what is there when I see myself in the mirror? There is a bimba face, the original, and there is a pratibimba reflection. Out of this, do we say there are two? There is a bimba face and a pratibimba face. Out of that, what is the reality? Are both the reality? No. The bimba face is the only vastu, the only reality. Then what is pratibimba face? Pratibimba face is only an abhasa, and that is only an experiential reality. It is sufficient enough to do all my vyavahara, all my alankara vyavahara which I want to do on in the mirror. The mirror reflection is enough. Looking at the mirror, I do everything on my face and do that alankara, whatever I want to do for the body and the face. Correct? So that's the mirror. So he says, Mukha bhasako darpane drishyamana. The original face cannot be seen. I can see it only in the mirror as a reflection. And what is that? It is abhasa. It is a reflection. It is an experiential reality. Really speaking, it is not there. Do I count the reflection as second me? No. I only take it as an experiential reality. Mukhabhasako darpane drishyamana. Mukhatvat pritakvena naivasti vastu. Other than this face, there is nothing else. I may stand in front of 10 mirrors, there'll be 10 reflections. Will I say there are 11 people or 11 faces? No. There is only one. 10 abhasas are there. 10 experiential realities are there. But what is the absolute reality? Only one absolute reality is there, that is here. This one is the absolute reality. All that I see is only an experiential reality. Mukhat pritakvena na naivasti vastu. There is no vastu. There is no really anything else other than this. Any number of reflections may be there, they are as good as non existent. Therefore, they are called mithya. They depend upon me, the original face, they have no existence of their own. If I'm not there in the mirror, in front of the mirror, the reflection of me is not there. The reflection is dependent upon the original. The reflection is not an absolute reality. The reflection is only an experiential reality, therefore, it is called as mithya. Prithakvena naivasti vastuhu. Similarly, chidabhasako dhishu jivopi tadvat. When I, the original consciousness or that Chaitanya Atma, gets reflected in the surface of the buddhi, in every jiva, this reflection in the buddhi is called as jiva. Therefore, what is the reality of jiva? Is jiva the reality? Is it really there or is it not there? So, chidabhasako dhishu jivopi tadvat. And what is that original, which is the real vastu? Sanityopalabdhi swarupoham atma. I am that vastu, the original, the consciousness swarupa, which has never disappeared, which is all the time available. Nityaha, ekaha, all the time bodhaswarupaha, chaitanya swarupaha, and the jiva, what I think I am, is nothing but the Abhasa Chaitanyam Chidabhasa, along with the body mind sense complex. I feel I'm a different individual. That a different individual I am, it is that bhava is called as the Jiva bhava. So from Brahma bhava, I have come down to Jiva bhava. What am I? I'm really nothing but this consciousness Swarupa. But then I have taken the abhasa or the reflection to be the reality, and I feel the jiva is the reality, and I'm not even aware of the paramarthika satya atma. So who am I? I'm not the chidabhasako jivaha. The jiva, which is nothing but abhasa chaitanyam in the buddhi. I'm not that. Sanityopalabdhi swarupoham atma. And that constant awareness, Nitya Upalabdhi Swarupaha, available all the time within me, all the time I'm available to myself, all the time I'm experiencing myself as Ahamasmi, Ahamasmi, Ahamasmi. Iti constantly Spurantam Aham. That is what I am. We'll see that later in Dakshinamurti Stotram also. This Aham Spurantam, Aham Ahamiti Spurantam, that will come there also. Next, the same thing is extended, to the next one where he says, Yatha darpana bhava abhasahano mukham vidyate kalpana hinamekam तथा धी वियोगे निराभासको यः स नित्योपलब्धि स्वरूपोऽहमात्मा. Now, if this mirror, darpana, is removed or it breaks, what happens? The reflection disappears. But the original face does not disappear. Correct? That face remains till it finds another mirror. Or it may not find another mirror, it doesn't matter. The reflecting medium is gone, the reflection is gone, but the original is not gone. Therefore, when the body dies, the reflecting medium, the Sukshma Sharira is gone, the Chidabhasa is gone, the Jiva is gone, but Atma is not gone. That is all the time there. So he says, Yatha Darpana Abhave Abhasa Anhano. When Darpana Abhava is there is no Abhasa. There is no reflection. Mukham vidyate kalpanahinam ekam. Whatever remains is only this one without a second, divisionless original face. Kalpanahinam ekam mukham. That which does not have any kind of a vikalpa, that which doesn't have any kind of a division. Divisionless original face only remains. Mukham vidyate. 100, you know, reflections may be there in 100 mirrors. If one mirror is gone, one is gone, 99 are there. If all of them are gone, all reflections are gone. But the original, the face, the bimba mukham, mukham vidyate, bimba mukham vidyate, kalpanahinam, without any division, because of the lack of reflecting surface, ekam. There was one face, one original face, it remains one. When has it become many? With many reflecting media. So there is one Atma, one consciousness, Kshetrajnam, which remains the same. And in different kshetras of the mind, it reflects and is known as different millions of jivas. But what is the original? What is the only thing that is there? It is only this Chaitanya Swarupa Atma. Tatha dhi viyoge nirabhasako yaha. When there is no reflecting medium of the buddhi, I, the Nitya Upalabdhi Atma, become nirabhasakaha, reflectionless I am. I'm always there. There is no reflection, that's all. When this buddhi is not there, when this Sukshma Sharira is not there, when Abhasa Chaitanyam is not there, what goes is the reflection only. Therefore, Tatha, in the same way, Dhiviyoge, when the reflecting surface is not there, Nirabhasakaha Yaha, I remain pristine, clear, alone, reflectionless. Whether reflections are there or not, it doesn't concern me. Atma is not bothered whether jivas are millions of jivas are there or not. There is only one Nitya Upalabdhi Swarupoham Atma. I am the Nitya Upalabdhi Swarupa Atma. Now again he comes to Manas Chakshuradihi, which is nothing but the Sukshma Sharira, which is the what you call as the you know the Upadhi of this Atma. And here he wants to say, though this Atma is the nimittam for the functioning of the entire Sukshma Sharira and the Karyakarana Sanghata, through the Sukshma Sharira, Sthula Sharira also functions with functions. It is in no way affected by that what it actually enlivens. It enlivens the Jada sense organs and the mind, but not affected by what it enlivens. At the same time, it is not having any parts of itself. So these three things he wants to talk about in the seventh verse. Let's see what he says. Manaschakshurader viyukta swayam yo. Manaschakshurader manaschakshuradihi. Manaschakshurader swarupaha. Sanityopalabdhi swarupo hamatma. So you may wonder why these two words are coming again and again. So here what he says, Manaschakshuradehe viyukta viyuktaha swayam yo or swayam yaha. This consciousness or this Atma does not have any avayavas like the mind or the sense organs. What has got the avayavas or parts is the body mind sense complex matter principle. I, the Atma, is partless, niravayava, nirvikari. I don't have any parts. I don't have any sense organs. The sense organs belong to the matter principle, body, mind, sense complex. I, the Atma, the Chaitanya Atma, does not have, or I, the Atma, do not have these sense organs. So, manaschakshurade viyuktaha swayam. I, the Atma, or this Nitya Upalabdhi Swarupa Atma, which is I, is free from any parts. It is partless. It is one continuous Ekam Advitiyam without any kind of Upadhi, Nirupadhikam Atma. And that Nirupadhikam Atma, there is no Upadhi. So Manaschakshuradehe Viyuktaha, number one. I am this consciousness which is Niravayavam or which I am partless. Manaschakshuradehe Manaschakshuradihi. At the same time, I am the eye of the eye. I am the consciousness behind the ear, which makes it a ear. I am the ear of the ear. I am the mind of the mind, the tongue of the tongue, the nose of the nose, skin of the skin. So, though I do not have any of these sense organs, I am the very content of all these sense organs, because of which the sense organs are able to function, pravritti, they are able to function in their own way. So, manaschakshura dehe, manaschakshuradihi. For every sense organ, I am the eye of the eye. I am the ear of the ear. What is the meaning of that? I am the consciousness because of which the eye functions as the eye. The ear functions as the ear. Manaschakshura dehe, manaschakshuradihi. Manaschakshuradehe agamya swarupaha. At the same time, the sense organs and the mind cannot objectify me. Why? Because only I can objectify these. These are the objects, I am the very subject. The object cannot objectify the subject consciousness. Though I am the eye of the eye, this eye cannot, show me myself. It cannot see myself. All the sense organs, the body mind sense organs, they're all the products. They're all the objects. But who am I? I'm the very seer or the very subject. An object cannot objectify a subject. Clear? It's very clear. An object cannot objectify. Just imagine if an object can objectify us, you know, a person who is seeing, then every object will start lighting up everything. There'll be no perception at all. The subject can objectify an object, and that consciousness, which is the subject consciousness, I am, therefore, no object like the body mind sense complex can objectify me. Manaschakshura dehe agamyaha. I cannot be objectified by any sense organ because I am the very subject who objectifies all the sense organs and the mind. And that consciousness, that subject consciousness is nothing but my swarupam. Sanityopalabdhihi swarupoham atma. So here, just imagine a boy considered to be a jada, a person, a boy who cannot speak, is talking about who he is with just one question from the right source. From the right source, like Acharya, he is giving this answer. We still have another 7 verses to go, where again this child talks about what is the real nature of me. Am I an individual? I am a body mind sense complex, or what? The Tvam Pada Vichara is very clearly discussed in the next 7 verses. We'll see in the next session. Om Nandantu Sadhaka Sarve Vinashyantu Vidushakaha अवस्था शाम्भवी मेस्तु प्रसन्नोऽस्तु गुरुस्तदा सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखमाप्नुयात् ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः।